In case you missed it.
In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this mirror.
Welcome to In Case You Missed It, short videos where I cover games that flew under my radar and possibly flew under yours.
Hades is developed by Supergiant Games and was released in early access in 2018 on PC, and I knew of the game but I never really gave it a chance for some reason, but a few weeks ago it was officially released and it's come out on Nintendo Switch, so I thought, hey, let's give it a go.
Hades really is an iceberg of gameplay, and I think if there's one phrase to summarize Hades perfectly, it's attention to detail. You see, the challenge with this review of sorts is, how do I speak about a game and want you to play it when a lot of the game's enjoyment comes from its pleasant surprises that I don't want to spoil for you? Let me give you the tip of the iceberg first.
Hades is a roguelike dungeon crawler with a simple premise. You play Zagreus, the son of Hades, who's had enough of hell and wants to escape. The gameplay loop is simple. Pick a weapon you want to try your escape attempt with. Each encounter completed during that attempt can reward you with abilities and resources. Abilities are only for the current run you are on and are lost on death, but resources carry over and can be used to buy persistent upgrades to improve Zagreus' stats in the following escape attempts. Rinse, repeat, and watch the story unfold and let the gameplay surprise you.
As I said, that is just the tip of the iceberg. This game is challenging, and the combat in Hades is very, very simple at the start, and I thought it seemed too simple, and it is in its essence. You only have 3 buttons to think about: attack, special, and cast. Yet, with only 3 buttons to think about, on the first day I struggled. This game filled me with rage, made me question my gaming ability, and almost made me throw my Switch at a wall. But you know what? I absolutely loved it.
I think the general consensus around roguelikes is that they're a switch your brain off and play sort of game, and I think what Supergiant Games has done in terms of challenging gameplay, interesting story and lore essentially counters a lot of that stereotype.
I don't think I've played a roguelike with such style and personality yet deliver on its core in-depth gameplay mechanics.
I mentioned pleasant surprises earlier, and Hades does something great in just letting you figure it all out. Early conversations with my friends about Hades reminds me of old school gaming. Hey bro, how did you complete this boss? Or has X or Y event happened for you yet?
And just pure excitement reading text messages from friends who messaged me just hyped that they finally got their first successful escape attempt. You know what, there's so much to talk about with this game and everything harmonizes so seamlessly, but I think I'm going to start with narrative. I think where Hades wins a lot of points is when Zagreus is interacting with his family and friends. It's slick, fantastically written, and fully voiced characters creates a world that evolves as you play. And trust me, each interaction, it just gets better and better. Every death, the story continues. When you go back to the House of Hades and interact with the characters there, they'll speak about what's just happened on your current run, speak about some of the gods that you've met. It's just amazing.
Greek mythology brings us a familiar cast, but with Hades, it's like a remix. Artemis, Athena, Zeus and more, all aiding your escape feels exciting, and those interactions in turn link into the gameplay seamlessly. Side note, I honestly thought that the characters would start repeating themselves after a while, but after playing for a few weeks now, escape attempt 60 maybe, I'm still surprised with new dialogue every run, and there's so many meaningful interactions that really help form bonds and understanding between characters and investment with me to those characters as well.
I think that's enough with narrative for now.
In Hades, death is your friend. Embrace it. You're gonna die a lot, but that's not a bad thing. It's gonna feel bad the first few times, but you will come to learn that dying evolves the story and allows you to progress Zagreus' combat stats and perks further. A good way to think about it is you are starting from the literal bottom, and the only way really is up. You'll be making progress to the end, so to speak, and trust me, it seems difficult to start off with, but with me, something just clicked and all of the frustration turned into understanding.
I know I said I was finished with the narrative stuff, but just going back quickly again, quick side note, I've done some research on Greek mythology, and Zagreus is the prince of the underworld, obviously, but did you know he's also the god of rebirth? I think that is crazy character and theme design that sits perfectly in a game where dying and coming back stronger is essentially your bread and butter. Just, I think, yeah, just end of side note.
Let's talk about Arsenal, and I'm not talking about the best football team ever. I'm talking about the diverse weapons Zagreus can wield. Swords, gauntlets for melee, bows and miniguns for range, and even some hybrid weapons. There's accommodation for all playstyles here. You only start off with the sword, but I'm sure you'll find something that will click with you. But once again, that's just the tip of the iceberg with combat. Variations of the infernal arms, as they're called in the game, add more layers into the playstyle you want, which makes the abilities you choose from the gods of Olympus matter even more. And trust me when I say the feeling of seeing a build come together through a run is chef's kiss. After completing an encounter, you'll get a choice of abilities, an item that upgrades the level of abilities, resources, gold, a shop to spend said gold, and more, but I don't want to spoil it. A successful run in Hades is about 70 encounters, so imagine essentially making 70 gameplay altering decisions.
And trust me, you don't want to make a mistake at encounter 69 that ruins your build completely. Hades is on PC and Nintendo Switch, but the nature of the game really does put it in a league of its own on the Switch.
Rarely do I bring my Switch with me out the house, but I find myself taking my Switch to work and playing on lunch breaks and even on a commute to and from work, desperately trying to get some game time in where I can. It's a pick up and play masterpiece, and let's not forget the one place where the portability of the Nintendo Switch shines the most: on the toilet. I think I knew I was enjoying Hades a lot when I was just playing in bed and I saw the battery low sign. It's been a while for me since any game on my Switch has made that sign pop up. So that is saying something.
To close this whole thing off, I think as a player of Hades, you will go through 3 different mood stages: ignorance, transcendence, and mastery. Ignorance in the fact that you are new. You're going to be learning the game and you're going to be frustrated with dying a whole heap. Transcendence, where the thing happens that I spoke about earlier, where something just clicks and you will start to understand and then get a successful escape attempt. And then mastery, where you're now just flying through encounters and then you can now dial in specific builds. You've had a couple of runs and now the game's just easy, and now you're playing for enjoyment and experimentation purposes. Listen, Hades is one of the best games I've played all year, and I think you should play it too. As I said, it was a pleasant surprise. It wasn't something that I was like, oh my god, Hades, let me try and buy it. But if you watch this and you do end up buying Hades, give me a shout over on Twitter, or come back to this video after you've played it and leave a comment. Anyways, I am Dorrani Mischief, and that has been In Case You Missed It. Peace.